Greetings from Indianapolis. I'm Jim Hale, and kind of looking forward to this class and seeing how my answers to these questions will change over the next 7 weeks because I'm not really sure on a lot of them how I feel. But it's interesting that this week is a week that we're talking about the pros and cons of social media because I've been thinking about it as I was watching a couple things in particular. When Robin Williams died, I read an article the other day that his daughter felt like she had to quit Twitter because of the hateful messages that people were receiving, were sending her, and it made me think about how easy it is to make comments to somebody that you know you'll never have to look in the eye and see the reaction. Um, so I think as we're looking at pros and cons of technology and social media, I think that's a big one. It's so anonymous. It's so easy to say things that you would never dream of saying to somebody in a room with you, um, and saying hateful things to people you have no relationship with and will never meet. So I think that's one of the cons. But on the pro side, if you haven't seen the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, then you should probably move out from underneath your bridge. But this hasn't passed the crop test, so I don't know that this is accurate. But a lot of the statistics I've read have said in the past month, while this has happened, their giving has gone up 10 times. Um, I think something I read said that last year at this time they made about $1.7 million or had received 1.7 in donations, and this year it's been 17. And so the power of social media to get a message out there, and I've seen lots of things questioning whether or not this is right or wrong, or if it's a waste of time. But there's people that would never dream of giving money to ALS because they wouldn't think about it. And I don't think it's necessarily an awareness thing. I think people have heard of ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, but something to put it out there, to put it in your mind that I need to give 10 bucks. And if you can get a million people to give 10 bucks, you've made a lot of money. So it's a great way to get a message out, and to a lot of people and quickly. Um, so those, I think, are two of the big pros and cons. And I think one of the questions was the best way to approach social media. I'm checking my notes over here. To gain credibility and whether or not it's ethically good to use social media. I kind of lumped those together. That I think if you're using the social media ethically, and the way I think about that is we we have tools that are at our disposal to use, and if we're using those tools to build things up, then I think that is a good use of that tool. If we're using it as a weapon to cut people down, then it's probably not a good use. I think of Paul when he was in Athens, when he just used what was around him, and he said, I saw this um, temple to an unknown God. He used what was around him, and then he crafted his message around that, and he used those things as a tool. And I think too often Christians in general, but people use social media as a weapon. Another one of the cons, not too long ago, Indiana for a short time had passed the same-sex marriage amendment or law, and I just poked around on Facebook for 10 minutes and read the comments on both sides, people that were for it and people that were against it, and they just attacked each other. And it's ironic that both sides say how intolerant the other side is, and then says hateful things about the other side, which is totally intolerant on their part. So I think that yes, it is ethical to use social media to get your opinion and try to influence people. I think it's ethical if you use it right. And the way that you build credibility is to use it as a tool to help people come together and not as something to divide people, because we have enough divisions already. I think the saying, seek first to understand and then to be understood, to show people that their opinions matter to you. And just because they're different or think differently does not mean that they're bad. It just means we're different. And even if it's about something that only one of us can be right, that can be approached in a loving way. And I think that is the key to being credible and to using the media ethically, is to try to bring people together, to understand, and to find some common ground before we find what divides us. And then we can discuss what divides us in a more productive and my pastor in Florida liked to use the word whimsical. It can be a more whimsical way to discuss things and not a confrontation. So 7 weeks from now, we'll see if I think something different, but for now, that's what I'm going to go with. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.